Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our webinar today. We are delighted that you could all join us to talk about the Midwest agricultural businesses and the online tools that we believe you are of service to you. We're really delighted and pleased to be with some of our companies from the Midwest in the agricultural sector that can share some of their experiences with you. And while the last of you I see are logging on, let me just do some quick introductions. So first of all, I'm delighted that we have Nate Engel here from the Agriculture Department Division, Deputy Director for the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development. So Nate, it's a pleasure to have you here today with us. He's going to be talking a little bit about what the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development brings, how you can access it, some of the programs that they have, and he is an absolute wealth of information. So please do take your time and ask him questions. That was an opportunity to ask questions that you have for Nate and to go through his presentation. I'm also really pleased and honored that Ashley Bauer, Marketing Coordinator of Endovac Animal Health, is joining us today. And Ashley is going to talk to us a bit about Endovac's experience with websites, how they've chosen it, what they're doing with it, their views on the online world. And Cheshta Sehgal and Joe Wilson is also there as well. And I apologize, Joe, I have not put your picture up on the slide deck here. From the Missouri Northern Pecan Growers, and this is a tremendous company based in Missouri, obviously, who federates a lot of the pecan growers there, and has also got a story to tell about online tools and where they see that helping them going forward. Myself, then, I'm Susanna Hardy. I'm Chief Content Officer at IBT Online, and I'm joined by my colleague Enrique Rubio, who is based in the Midwest and is there to help Midwest companies and all of you, and is a tremendous asset and always willing to pick up the phone or jump on a call or jump in a meeting with you and to give any help he can. A quick word, perhaps, just very briefly about who we are as a company. IBT Online, we've been around actually for a while. We're celebrating our 20th year, and we are 100% focused on online tools, that is websites and online marketing for international and exporter companies. We're very proud to have been awarded the President's E Award certification and certification. That's great. And we have also recently had some other awards in North Carolina, which we're very proud about. We are really focused on mid-cap companies, really, and bringing to them websites, online marketing globally. And we're proud also to have set up some online global programs with various states. And I've shown the map here. There are quite a few in the Midwest region. And these are online global programs which we've set up with various states to help companies get the right online development tools, websites and things. On the right-hand side, I've added some of the benefits that we think the programs give you. My point is only that it's all about the top line. Online tools, websites, online marketing grows the top line of a company. It's there to help you find leads. It's there to help you grow your business or your international exports and things like that. So that's what we're about, and that's what this webinar is about, and there to help you. We will be talking then about, dedicated to the Midwest. We'll be talking about localized websites, either one or several. We'll be talking about e-commerce websites, and the example of Cheshta and Joe there for the Missouri Northern Pecan Growers. We'll also mentioning a little bit about big trends for the online marketing side, and we'll be mentioning a little bit about the branded program and some other grants that are available for companies. In terms of the agenda, we've got a pretty packed agenda for you here. And there's a question just coming in. Yes, you will get a recording of all of this in your inbox in 2 days' time. So you can sit back, enjoy, just listen and interact with us, ask questions, drop things into the chat box when you want. You will get a recording with the slide deck. So we divided up into 7 parts, but you see that we've left some time at the end for Q&A. We're going to start off with Nate, and then we're going to talk a little bit about, I'm going to talk about the online business development world. Then we're going to go to Ashley and talk about Endovac Animal Health, and her experiences. Then Enrique is going to talk about website localization and what that means. What does that imply for a company? What is a localized website? And then Cheshta and Joe are going to talk about their experience with Missouri Northern Pecan Growers for an e-commerce website. What does that mean? And redesign, and how does that design, and what do you do with these websites? And then I'm going to take it back for a brief overview of some online marketing. As I said, time at the end for Q&A. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Nate to talk a bit about the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development.
Great, thanks, Susanna. I appreciate the introduction. My name is Nate Engel, and I work with the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development's Agriculture Development Division. And I'm going to speak for a couple of minutes today and provide a very brief overview of what's happening in the Great Lakes state regarding the food and agriculture industry generally, and as it relates to food and ag exports. So I'll note a little bit about how the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development helps support the growth in this area. We can go to the next slide, Susanna. The state of Michigan's economic growth activities are overwhelmingly structured and exerted through the Michigan Economic Development Corporation in Michigan, but the Department of Ag, while primarily a regulatory agency, has a small team embedded within it to specifically assist Michigan food, agriculture, and forest products companies with some of the international trade support functions via our international marketing program. On the next slide, you will see that the international marketing program, note that the international marketing program serves primarily small and medium-sized businesses, as well as agricultural cooperatives across the state. The program that we run often engages a number of partners, including the Food Export Association of the Midwest, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, the U.S. Commercial Service, the United States Department of Agriculture, and a number of others. Our university partners, which we also find very valuable when providing technical assistance to industry, includes the Grand Valley State University Van Andel Global Trade Center. They're an excellent source of technical trade support service, as well as the Michigan State University International Business Center. The food and agriculture industry is pretty strong in Michigan. We've got more than 121,000 people employed directly in the industry and an estimated additional 100,000 people tied to agriculture in the state. Food processing contributes about $24 billion to Michigan's economy, thanks to over 3,500 licensed food processing facilities and food warehouses spread across the state. Our dairy sector represents our highest value cash receipts and contributes over $15 billion each year to the Michigan economy. Michigan ranks #1 in the nation in agricultural production in a number of items, including a number of beans, many different specialty crops, and a lot of different flowers. So you're probably thinking, this is great, this is nice, some nice numbers, but if I'm in Michigan or if I'm in a nearby state in the Midwest, we've probably got some great things happening too. Why should I consider exporting? Well, the short answer is that you're missing out on sales. 95% of the global population and more than 70% of purchasing power in the world is situated outside of the United States. So by exporting, you increase your overall market presence. And as economic growth continues to happen around the world, people are increasingly purchasing the same things or similar items because when you kind of drill down to it, people want what they see, whether they're looking at their neighbor that has something or whether they're seeing something marketed to them via the internet, which is partly what we're discussing today around web-based tools or on television. Globalization is a thing, and people want a lot of the same stuff in places far-flung across the world that they do in the United States. So exporting also allows you to access niche markets where your particular product can stand out. And a great example of this is that last year, Michigan honored a company called Citizens Elevator as the 2021 Michigan Agriculture Exporter of the Year, noting their success in exporting a natto soybean to East Asian markets, a really niche product even within the world of soy. So exporting really can help diversify your business, potentially help you to weather domestic economic bumps, and overall, on average, sales and job creation typically grows faster for companies that export, oftentimes comparatively to those that don't. So global consumer trends include an increased demand for convenience foods, growth in the organic health and wellness market segments is happening in many markets across the world, and two-income families are on the rise as well, meaning oftentimes we're seeing more purchasing power per household. U.S. products oftentimes remain strongly branded across the world, typically known for quality, and that's kind of the case across many product sectors and across a lot of different food products as well. An interesting note shared by some of our friends at Food Export Association of the Midwest through some of their market research, and they've determined that about less than 1% of U.S. companies export, and of those that do, approximately 58% of companies export to just one country only. So the opportunity is tremendous for Michigan-based or other Midwest-based companies to be able to export and access these foreign markets and increase sales. So a couple of numbers for you on the next slide here. You can probably go to the census and could look these up, but Michigan companies, in our case, exported $2.5 billion worth of food, agriculture, and forest products in 2021. The top 5 category products is defined by the census. Kind of the groupings which track these things are processed food products, $437 million, soybean, sugar beet, and wheat byproducts at $304 million, $234 million were exported out of Michigan related to dairy, and you can see wood products and edible meat products on the screen as well. Our top 5 markets for our food and ag exports include Canada at over $1 billion, Mexico, so you've got a couple of our traditional strong trade partners there. China, interestingly, is back up to number 3, where it ranked for Michigan ag exports for a number of years prior to dropping down a little bit last year on that ranking list, and then rounding it out as South Korea and Japan. So a lot of sort of diversity in our marketplaces for the products leaving Michigan. On the next slide, I kind of just put a few things together here. Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development helps Michigan food, ag, and forest products businesses export through several different services and offerings, including country-specific and product-specific market research. We provide some technical support, kind of getting documentations in order, phytosanitary certificates, health certificates, etc., and by enrolling companies into the Food Export Association of the Midwest branded program for cost reimbursement. And this is a really popular program. Companies that contact us, we sit down with our partners at Food Export, and many times companies are eligible for up to 50% cost reimbursement for eligible products that are marketed to foreign buyers. Some of the requirements for these eligible costs consideration include that the product must be 50% U.S. agricultural origin. The company must be headquartered in the Midwest. This program is available to small and medium-sized companies. Products have to have a USA origin, and companies typically agree that reimbursements occur on a rolling basis. So this is a really, really popular program for us, and we're happy to have more detailed conversations one-on-one if there's any interest. I think our contact information, my email address is on the slides here as well. So on the next slide, another offering that we receive a lot of positive feedback on is the facilitation of trade show participation and buyers missions support that we offer Michigan companies. And through a strong network of the partners that we referenced earlier, we're able to connect companies to helpful organizations if it's something that we can't do. So on the screen, you can see that we have the trade mission list and the buyer's mission lineup for 2022. Trade missions can happen in conjunction with trade shows. They don't always do that in terms of how we offer them, but occasionally a trade mission will line up with a trade show, or a buyer mission will line up with a trade show, I should say. And I'm sure we'll see some of you at the National Restaurant Association show and maybe at the Sweets and Snacks Expo as well in Chicago next month. I know there's a lot of interesting Midwest companies on this call today, so chances are you'll probably be there. And if you are, we encourage you to stop by the Michigan Pavilion and say hello. Our booth spaces at the Michigan Pavilion are all sold out for these two particular events. We're thrilled to be back to normal insofar as trade show participation after the craziness of the last 2 years. We've got a Midwest Buyers Mission coming up in Grand Rapids in July, and we're actively slotting in Michigan and other Midwest food and agriculture companies right now to meet with foreign buyers who are flying in and looking to source from Michigan and other food and ag companies across the Midwest. So lots happening. On my last slide, I've put a list of our trade shows. Our total participants at the moment were nearly almost 3 dozen companies are going to be participating with us at various trade shows. And just to give you kind of an offering of what we do in Michigan, in addition to the American Food Fair at the National Restaurant Association and Sweets and Snacks, our program helps support Michigan companies go to Summer Fancy Foods, Cial Paris, the Global Produce and Floral Show. And so for those of you that are on the webinar that already export, you know the importance of these shows and kind of other efforts when marketing your products abroad and connecting with foreign buyer representatives. So like marketing and sales efforts everywhere, domestically, your success really depends on kind of a multi-pronged approach to getting your brand out there, making it accessible to buyers and to your consumers. And so with that bit about Michigan as an example today, you can see that the opportunities are tremendous. And when it's possible, obviously it's ideal to have an in-market presence. When you can't afford that, there are a lot of other options, and some of those options include online tools to make sure that your business and your product are present, whether it be to a B2C audience or whether it be to a B2B audience in the market that you're targeting sales in. So that's kind of a little bit about Michigan. We find this stuff really valuable. We work pretty closely with hundreds of companies across our state. And we're looking forward to learning a little bit more from the other folks from across the Midwest today, and encourage you to reach out if you have any questions about what I discussed today. So thank you for the opportunity, Susanna, and I'll turn it back to you.
Thanks very much, Nate. I did say we'd have questions at the end, but the ones just come in specifically for you, just about actually the branded program, which says, just a question saying, is this an annual amount? Can I apply 2 years in a row, or is this a one-off?
That's a great question. Once you're enrolled, it's an annual enrollment. There is a cap. I will tell you that in our experience, we seldom see companies reach the cap. I'm happy to talk a little bit more detail on one-on-one, but it's something that company can apply for every year. So if you have annual costs around marketing your product, there's a whole long list of eligible expenses that are well defined and bullet pointed out, but it is something that you can claim and get reimbursed for every single year. So it's really a fantastic program, and can chat more.
For the whole Midwest, fantastic. And just before we talk more about websites in total, I wanted to launch a quick poll. I just wanted to ask the audience itself, what have you already taken been in touch with the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Affairs? Have you already had experience with the branded programs? Yes, still thinking about it. Would you like more information about it? How's that going? I have to say we have a very, very lively audience. Nearly all of you voted within the first 10 seconds. That's when I was speaking. So thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. Quick on the button. We will, okay, just to give you an indication, a good, nearly a quarter of you are in regular contact and have taken advantage of the branded program already, but virtually everyone else, with a few little exceptions, virtually everyone else is asking for more information. So thank you for that and for participating in the poll. I appreciate that very much. Great, I'm gonna move forward now and talk a bit more about why we think Midwest exporters need business tools. And I mean, we've been around for a while, and we think you need online business development tools like websites and online marketing for quite a few years. But the pandemic has really turbocharged some of those long-term trends. I mean, if you just think e-commerce, for example, okay, we were, pre-pandemic, we were all, of course, doing e-commerce, but now it is, during the pandemic, it's exploded worldwide, absolutely worldwide. And these are habits that have stuck. And then working from home, well, I'm at home. I mean, these are trends that have really, really been turbocharged in the last 2-3 years. And it has really made the online tools, like your website, like your online marketing, like all of those tools possible, really fundamental and core to your business. So for us, it's really become, even if it's possible, sort of totally ubiquitous in all forms of companies, from the very smallest, obviously, to the very largest. It's no longer really okay not to have a website, or not to have a good website, or not to be using all the possible tools available. In that sense, it has increased as well that digital divide between companies who are able to master those tools, or at least stay on top of them, and the ones who are still sort of struggling a bit. And I think that this is sort of worth keeping in mind. Just looking at some of the very, very big numbers here, again, it's sort of ballpark figures. We're nearly 8 billion people on the planet. 62%, so 5 billion of them, 5 billion of us, are online. Not just online, we're online for 7 hours a day. So 5 billion people are using the internet 7 hours a day, every day. I mean, that's amazing. And of that 5 billion, 4.5 or 4.6 actually are on social media for about 2.5 hours a day. So this is not just, your teenage son or daughter or something. This is gaming. This has now become absolutely key and fundamental to businesses everywhere. So it's worth keeping in mind. 5 billion people, 7 hours a day, of which 4.5 billion, 2.5 hours a day. This is good news for small and mid-sized companies. It means you can reach out, where your prospective buyers are, where your prospective employees are, where your distributors are. They're online, and you know how to reach them via social media. It's finding the right platforms, the right type of online business development tools, being able to reach them globally. And that's the real strength of the internet, and an amazing, leveler of a playing field for small and mid-cap companies everywhere. And basically, we're talking about, today we're going to be talking about this website localization. What does that mean? Things. And when we talk about international websites, we really mean localized websites, because everything on the web is always localized, because it's searcher-centric. When Cheshta and Joe will give us some examples also of e-commerce and how that fits in, and then online marketing, whether that's search engine, social media, analytics, and how that knits together for that. So to answer that question that I said, why do Midwest exporters need online business development tools? We feel that you benefit from them because the world is online, and therefore you to be found globally, to be understood globally, and to be easy to do business with, as easy as possible to do business with. You need to harness and use those online business development tools. So as I said earlier, we have a series of online global programs which are really tailored to building up websites for you. They're well-trodden paths, that allows you to really reach out and grow globally. So I think that's sort of enough of that. I'm going to now turn to Ashley and Endovac. And let's hear a little bit from a company's perspective rather than mine.
Thank you, Susanna. Hello, everyone. I'm Ashley Bauer. I'm the marketing coordinator here at Endovac Animal Health. And we partnered with IVT Online last year to basically create a Canadian and a Canadian French website. We wanted websites to reach our northern neighbors. We're here in mid-Missouri, a town called Columbia, Missouri. A little bit about our company. We did have our humble beginning in 1983. we had two professors at the University of Missouri start putting together products for the horse vaccine world. Was kind of where we began. Fast forward almost 40 years, today we're producing gram-negative bacterial vaccines for hogs, horses, and beef and dairy cattle. So kind of a humble beginning. Fast forward, we are an international company now, with still our humble roots are on the family property now that it has our brand new manufacturing facility, which was completed about 2 years ago now. We have a new research and evaluation facility on site as well. And we have a team of sales representatives all across the US that help work. So I am here in our home office in Columbia, Missouri. Day to day, my job includes managing our website, our social media, our digital marketing, our print marketing. We also do a ton of trade shows as well, as far as traveling to and from, and I help along with the sales team. So a little bit about how we got started with IBT Online, now that you know a little bit about our company, coming from a humble beginning such as that, but seeing so much growth and success with having a product that truly works and helps farmers and ranchers and dairymen and herdsmen. We met with the International Trade and Investment Office out of Jefferson City, Missouri. We had a couple of representatives from there come and approach us and say, hey, we've got this opportunity for you to invest in an international website. And we said, well, that's excellent, because we've been exporting for a long time. However, we're ready to take it to the next level. And for us, that meant creating both a Canadian and a Canadian English, French website, excuse me. So enters in IBT Online. And we said, we have an American website we love, right? We love the function, the format. So now we need to work on translation, and we need to have kind of it localized so that when someone looks up our product or our company name in Canada, we want to be the first thing that pops up. And we want to send them to our website, get them to click on that where to buy page so they can buy through one of our distributors, or get them to click on our locate a rep page so they can call one of my sales reps and say, hey, I love your product. I want to give it a try. Where can I buy it? Like, give me some more information. And so that's exactly what we did. Through that, we worked with the International Trade and Investment Office and IBT Online to actually be reimbursed for this project, which was huge. Again, being a family-owned company and growing, any chance you have an opportunity to create something new, but also, reap a financial benefit from it, that's certainly what we saw here. So as you can see on the screen, here's a little example of our Canadian French and our Canadian English websites. Again, the Canadian English mostly mirrored our American website or US website as well. But it's really convenient the way that it was set up. Working with the IBT team, it was incredibly easy. As you can see here, we basically gave them our US outline and said, all right, let's change it. This is what we want to see. Anytime I had any sort of issue or needed any revisions to be made to any of the websites, it was usually within a matter of a couple hours. There was always a team member to assist. Via email, there was always someone, if I couldn't figure something out or had an issue getting into the back end of the website, there was someone to jump on a video call and walk me through it. Just very timely, great with communication, and made this process and this project incredibly easy.
Ashley, very kind words. Thank you very much. That was very kind of you. Again, I said we do questions at the end, but there's another one that's just come in as well. So if you don't mind, it was just, did you get any pushback from any of your reps or distributors in Canada?
Absolutely not. Actually, one of the reasons why we were so adamant in creating a Canadian website is because we had some Canadian distributors approach us and say, we love your product. We're selling your product. Do you have a website? We've got a lot of French-speaking customers that we want to be able to have you relate to them a little easier so they can do some of the research on their own and help with distribution up here. And we said, absolutely, give us a little bit of time. And so I think we completed this project. I know it was within probably 6 months, possibly 3 to 4. And that was with, having to go through all of the translation, which, as everyone knows, when you're working on translating something, that takes a lot of time and you want to have a bunch of different eyes on it to review it. So that prolonged the project a little bit, but absolutely not. No pushback whatsoever. It was actually encouraged and welcomed.
Good. Thank you very much. Thanks very much for that. Enrique, perhaps we could now talk a little bit with you about what is a website localization? What is that? What is a localized website?
Absolutely. Let's get into it. So one of the top questions we always receive here at IBT Online is, why can't I just use my US website to go global? Well, it's pretty simple. Search engines are localized, and on this slide, you'll see Google has 192 country and regional specific search engines. So you can't assume that your US website is going to be able to be found on a different localized Google website. So if you have a website for your company and you want to reach some prospects in your target markets, you might think, let me just translate a couple of my pages in that foreign language, and surely the Google algorithm will do the rest. But unfortunately, that's not the case. Search engines, and we take in Google as an example since it's the leader, but the same applies to others like Yandex, Bing, Baidu, and even these days YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Amazon, Facebook are all used as search engines. So you can view all of those website or technologies that I just listed as searcher centric. So you want to make sure that you're adapting your US web presence into your target markets so that your target audience can find you and make you easier to do business with. So, for example, say you're trying to target the German market, your searcher in that market will most likely be searching in German using google.de. They will be wanting to find information that's relevant to them. So if you're not being found on google.de and if your information is not in the local language, it's going to be really hard for your target audience to be able to contact you and to do business with you. So that's why it's very important to localize your US websites to the target markets that you're trying to do business in. And you can view every search engine in a different market as a country specific localized search engine. We're going to go into the next slide where we take an example of searching on Google in two different markets. So here I'm searching squeakless dog toys in the Midwest because that's where I'm located. And Suzanne is searching the same exact thing in the United Kingdom in London. And as you see on this slide, we're getting two completely different results. Here in the United States, I'm getting prompted for ads from Chewy, from Petco, and over in the UK, Suzanne is being targeted for different websites like barksandbunnies.co.uk, which I have no idea, what that website is. But obviously, you can see, we're searching, in the same language, but in two different locations, and we're getting different results. So, just to recap. It's the same search, same language, different Google search engines gave us different results with relevant content for each user. And now we're going to talk about, localization and keyword optimization and the importance of using the proper language when you're doing search engine optimizations. So you need to understand your buyer persona and the language to be relevant. In this example, we have car in Spanish in two different ways for two different markets. In Spanish, we use the word auto and coche. If you are a company that sells parts and accessory for cars and you're trying to sell into the Mexican market, you need to understand, what word to utilize in your search engine marketing. So in the Mexican market, it's more commonly to use auto versus coche. So you can see right here on this diagram that that it's more popular to use the word auto in Mexico versus coche. But if you look into the Spanish market in Spain, they use the opposite. So they're using coche over auto. So you want to make sure that you're using, the proper words and terminology and keywords for the different markets that you're trying to target. So, same search engine again, same language, different keywords, different Google ad campaigns will result with different, results based on where that person is located. So it's very important to understand your buyer persona and the language that they're using in the market. Lastly, websites and online marketing equal customer centric, which equals localization. Keep in mind, translation and keyword research is only one aspect of having a localized website. In order for search engines to find you, you need to make it as easy as possible for the algorithm of Google to realize that your website is for that specific market. For example, Google has a search index of hundreds of billions of pages that it needs to comb through to figure out what is most relevant for that searcher. So to make it easier on Google, you need to localize your website and marketing to ensure that your website can be found in the local market. And this includes things like hosting within the target market, registering domain names, making sure that it's compliant to their standards, and other factors. And we have it listed right here on this slide. These are the best way to make sure that your website can be found in your target markets. Without this information, Google will have no idea on what results should pop up for your target audience. And now I'll hand it back over to Susanna, who will introduce Cheshta.
Thank you so much. But just before we pass on to Missouri Northern Pecan Growers, I just want to do another poll just quickly. If anyone would like more information, if they would like, we could send you either by email or check out our website if you want more information about their blogs. There's tons of stuff. If you'd like more information about what are websites, what are localized websites, do you want us to get in touch with you? Let us know, and so on. And we'll be happy to reach out, walk you through it, and talk to you about the potential grants that are available and the website online marketing program. And again, thank you so much. Right. And with that, I'm going to close the poll, and let's turn to Cheshta and Joe and talk a little bit about Missouri Northern Pecan Growers.
Good morning. Our experience, we've had a website for 20 years or more, but it was old, out of date. It was not user-friendly. We weren't getting the keywords.
We were not ranking, and with the SEO ranking, we were missing that. And then when the pandemic hit, we were like, we really need to start prioritizing our, with the online sales increasing, we really need to start prioritizing that online aspect and that e-commerce aspect. And so that's when we turned to IBT.
Well, we were introduced to IBT through our Missouri Economic Development.
Yeah.
But we got some assistance there, and so it was very helpful. But, they did a remarkable job with our website too. We need to upgrade our American website, and we were able to do that in conjunction with developing a website for French Canadian and also German. We've done a lot of exporting to those two markets and felt that there was additional good opportunities to be garnered in those areas, but we needed to be able to reach out more efficiently to them, especially when you're dealing with export markets. You don't get obviously face-to-face communication very often, and even phone conversations fairly limited. So your website is very important for them to get to know you and what you have to offer.
Yeah.
And we were really failing in that area, I believe, and we're really proud of what we have now. Let's see, at one point our exports were about 30% of our sales. It's dropped off some. Part of that's probably, some of it's additional competition, but also, we didn't have the right tools to be reaching those markets and to grow those markets. But
as like Joe said, I think with the pandemic, it's just been super important to have a great user experience for your website. It is important to have your website so where it's just one click, it's easy to navigate. And I think that that's what IBT has been able to provide us, not just like a better user experience, but also like a clear portrayal of our brand. So majority of our business is organic, and we take pride in the fact that we are a farmer-owned company. So our product is directly coming, farm to fork. And so just with the color schemes and just, using cleaner background and, you know, those wordings, highlighting all of that. I think IBT has really helped us in portraying our brand, you know, in a better light, I would say, than it was before. Some of our photos and content needed to be updated, and, you know, we can take pictures and we can provide content, but we're not content writers. So Susanna has really helped us in formulating and, you know, those key phrases that really need to be on the website in order for it to rank, you know, on the Google Analytics. IBT has really helped us with that. And then to the international sites, you know, like Joe mentioned, it is really important in order for you to grow your business and reach those markets and make sure that they are understanding your brand right. It is important to have those tools.
Communicate in their language.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Another thing, Nate mentioned the restaurant show in Chicago. We're going to be at that show, so if any of the participants here, look us up.
Yeah,
that's coming up. So
yeah,
love to visit with you more.
And we have utilized branded program as well. The Food Export Midwest has been really helpful, and you know, it's not just like with our website related stuff, like any of the translation stuff, any of the packaging material, translating any of that. They have been super helpful, sending samples overseas. So yeah, we are really fortunate to have funding available through branded program.
Joe and Cheshta, thank you so much for all those kind words and also sharing a bit your experiences with that. And rather similar to Nate and Ashley, I know we're going to have questions at the end because I see them coming in. Just a quick one for you here as well. How, and I guess this is just speaking after you said you have used the branded program already. How easy was it to apply for the branded program? Was it a headache? Is the question.
So we actually have been utilizing branded program for a few years now. Actually, I don't know how many years it's been, but it's
probably
been,
10 years.
Yeah, it's been quite, yeah. But it is very easy. You know, Molly in the Midwest office, she is very, Molly and Katie both, they're very kind and they'll guide you through the process. Obviously, you'll have to make sure that, you know, you comply with the deadline to apply for like your for the next year. But it's super easy as long as, you know, you enter those numbers. And then as long as you comply with the deadlines to upload documents, like that's kind of the most important thing. But other than that, they're very flexible. You know, we have hopped on calls with them. Hey, like, can you help us in understanding this? And even like we've utilized them even for the Natural Product Expo West and East. They have funding available for those shows as well. So
I would emphasize too that don't be intimidated. These,
yeah,
they're very hands-on people.
They are, yeah,
very personable. So don't feel that you're going to appear stupid or anything like that. They want to get you involved, and that's what their job is to get more people involved, and they want to help. And
and they have funds available. So obviously they want the right people to get the funds. So they are there to help you with that. Yeah.
Okay, and we did have Nate's email on the slide deck earlier, and at the end we have it again. That's also a resource to hand out when Nate is there. Just while I'm on, sorry, another question has come in as well. And how did you choose Germany and France or Canada French for your localized websites?
Well, as I mentioned, we had success in those markets. Okay. Felt a little bit of a comfort level with those markets because of our past experience, but also through the business that we'd had in those markets, we knew there was more business available to us. And we seemed to, you know, we understood the exporting to their ports, those things, and so we had a comfort level and really felt that we could develop those areas further than what we had.
And like we export quite a bit, so we also export to Asia and UAE, but out of all our export sales, Canada and Germany are the top two. So that that really made the decision easier for us to go with those.
Terrific. Nate, just in case, did you want to add anything to that previous question about the application or that it's not daunting to apply for the programs?
It's not daunting, and I know we've got folks from across the Midwest on this call today. So it is appropriate to contact your your state your state agriculture office, if you will, and inquire about it. If it happens to be the case that you can't reach anybody there, I mean, we'd be happy to my email is on this slide. I'd be happy to facilitate a contact if necessary. But if you're in Michigan, give us a holler if you're not using the program already. And between ourselves and and the food export staff, we kind of are there to help. That's what we're here to do. We want you to participate in it. We want you to get the cost reimbursement. We want you to export at the end of the day. That's what this is all about. You're here because you're interested, and we're here because we want you to export, and we're committed to getting you through that process.
Terrific. Right. I'm gonna there's a few more questions coming in, but we will keep them to the end. So I'm gonna now talk very briefly, given time. I'm gonna talk very briefly about international online marketing. We said in the beginning about websites and things, and these days, if we hark back to those big numbers of like nearly 5 billion people and all that on the internet for 7 hours a day, it's hard to have a really, really functioning high performance website without a little bit of marketing. Your website can be firing on all cylinders. It can be optimized, keywords, everything in it. And without a little tiny bit of marketing, it's going to be a slow haul. So for us, the websites go hand in hand with the marketing. And websites can be everything. They can be tiny brochure sites. They can be huge e-commerce sites. Then online marketing, you can have just really intense organic. You can have search engine, social media, paid advertising, non-paid. It comes in all forms and sizes. But for all companies in all sectors, it is really recommended. And a lot of B2B and agricultural companies in the past have been a little bit slower than, say, the consumer companies about their social media and their marketing. And we really think it's a good time, just as Cheshta was saying, now is a really good time to make sure that your social media, your online marketing strategy is really fine-tuned and working hard for you in conjunction with your websites to make sure that you're really pushing out and hearing people and listening to people and getting their feedback and interacting with your buyer personas. When you're looking at an international market, you need to think about those buyer personas. Are they the same as what you would have in your domestic market? In what way are buyer personas different in the Asian markets, the Canadian French markets, the German markets, or the Latin Mexican markets? In what way is their buyer journey different? Are they also using YouTube? Are they also using Baidu? What platforms are they using? So all those things that you have to think about when you're going internationally. So I've listed a couple of big questions there on this slide for you. And then I thought we'd take a quick look at L'Oreal, which is kind of a fun thing. They make shampoo and things like that. So the image that you have there is their homepage image for L'Oreal in Mexico. And it's very relaxed, and everyone else obviously has great hair, but it's very relaxed. There's men and women. It's very urban. Everyone's smiling. They're all around a computer and so on. And there's just subtle differences. If you were to go, for example, and look at L'Oreal Brazil, it is also very relaxed. I'd say even more relaxed, and it's full of sunshine. It's no longer in a big city. It's now on a port. It's two women. Very informal, less of an office space, more, and the message also is very Brazilian oriented. It's about that, for over 60 years, we've been there for all Brazilians. It's a very inclusive message for that. So these are just a little tweak about their buyer persona in each case. And the last one I wanted to show you was, L'Oreal USA, top of the building, all women, no men at all now. All of them with great hair because it's a L'Oreal commercial. They're all empowered on their computer, decision making, and so on. So in each case, and the message just tiny bit different. The world's leading beauty company, different from the Brazilian one. So these are little subtle differences you could have as you find your buyer personas in the different markets. All of those websites are recognizably L'Oreal. The brand image is the same, the fonts, the pictures, the same, but there's a slight difference in that buyer persona and therefore in that buyer's journey that they have. And when you're looking at international markets as well, you can see that there's a lot of differences in the way that your buyer personas react in these different markets. And here I've got a screenshot of a campaign we did, same company, same product, 2 different markets. Okay, the marketing thing is slightly tweaked for being localized for that market, obviously, but nevertheless, it's very, very similar. And we were pretty chuffed already with 1,000 clicks that we got from Frosty Old UK. You know, we thought, whoa, 1,200 engagements, 1,187 clicks. Whoa, Mexico blew us out of the water. 20,500 click engagements. And there were lots of very animated engagements like wows and shares and likes and all kinds of things. And so this was, you know, great for our vanity performance, and it was a great sort of thing. And then we said, well, what's happening in the sales? Surely that Mexican we're getting a lot of sales. But in fact, if we look beyond the vanity metrics, and here you have the similar over a longer period of time, with Mexico on the top and UK on the bottom. The blue and red represents those vanity things, that engagement, like how many clicks, how many likes, how many shares, and so on. And that's where you saw, you know, Mexico far exceeding the UK. The green and the yellow bars show you the real conversions, if you like. It's like, oh, where do I buy this product? You know, that sort of thing. Or buy this product. Those are the conversion metrics that you want to look at. And it's interesting, they're almost the same. So we know that it takes 5 times as much engagement for a conversion in Mexico than it does in the UK for this particular product. That's because the buyer persona and the buyer journey is different. So the Mexican engagement level is very different from a UK engagement level. And so when we're looking at that, we know we need 5 times what we have in the UK. So that's the difference of these buyer personas in different markets that you're looking at, how they react. In one slide, I've set up our top takeaways about online marketing best practices. I think some of the keys, you know, we've talked about that buyer persona and knowing that buyer's journey. Some of the keys, again, make sure you have a localized website in that market. It's no good saying, I bet we can get some sales in Japan. Let me launch a Facebook campaign in Japan, if the Japanese prospective buyer doesn't have a place to bounce to. And they want to come to a Japanese website or a Canadian French or whatever it is website. If you're targeting an area, they need a website to go to. So have your localized website first. And that acts as the place where the person goes to once they find you. Also, choose which platforms. Less is more. Don't spread yourself too thin. Focus in on one of them. Make sure you're getting it right, and then start the other ones. And I guess for us, it's, you know, look and analyze again and change it again, and then don't stop. Online marketing is a commitment over time. And so you need to make sure that you have, it's very cumulative. Don't do it if you're just going to say, oh, 3 months. Right? You've got to give it some time to build, because it does accumulate over time. And it, if you stop, you start from zero again. Very frustrating. Anyway, there you go. So those are the top online marketing sort of things. And again, I'll tell you what, I'll ask you, would anyone like more information about online marketing or international online marketing, the grants that are available for it? If you'd like more of that, we can send you blogs or emails or whatever, or if you want us to get in touch, you know, very happy to do so. And we can find out how we can help or point you in the right direction. And again, this is a very, very reactive audience. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you all so much for voting on that. Right, I'm going to close the poll. And then, so just a couple of takeaways, and then we do have some more questions coming in. And we have a tiny bit more time. So the first one we wanted to sort of a takeaway we wanted is just, why we think you need online business development tools. One, what are online business development tools? They are websites and marketing. That's what they are. And why you need them? It's because the world is online. Those numbers again, 5 billion, 7 hours a day, 4.5 billion, 2.5 hours a day. So 5 billion people are on the web every day for 7 hours a day. Good news for small and mid-cap businesses. You can reach them. You can engage with them. You can do business with them anywhere in the world. And that's why we think that that's such a good news for you. There are these online global programs in many U.S. states, and of course the ones that are in, for the Midwest in particular. You've got the branded program, and you've got people like Nate, an enormous amount of resources available to you. And as Nate so really said earlier, we want you guys to export. We want you to succeed. The resources are there. Reach out, find out about them, and there's a lot of people there who are willing to put their shoulder in and lend you a hand, as it were. Right. So you have also Nate's email address on this if you can't find your own state representative and economic development agency. And you have all of our emails as well, mine and Enrique's, if you want to reach out to help us as well. I have a couple more questions as well for that, if that's okay. One question is, again for Nate, which is branded programs. We are a food service company. Does it apply for us too?
Are they exporting? There's a number of eligible costs. Is the company exporting?
Yes, we are exporting. We are exporters, but we are a service company.
If you're exporting and you meet a number of other criteria, some of those I listed earlier in the slide, 50% or greater U.S. agricultural origin. If you're, marketing online into a particular market, that type of stuff is eligible. So give us a holler and we're happy to connect with you.
Okay. I have another one for Cheshta and Joe. Is, do your online cannibalize your bricks and mortar sales?
No, I don't think so at all. We do our shipping. We ship every day. A lot of our sales are East Coast, West Coast. We go everywhere. We sell a lot more extended sales than we do local, to be real honest. Yeah, so it just benefits us.
Okay, thank you very much. And I'm just sort of flipping around, and there's one also for Ashley, which is, you've done Canada. Would you do the USMCA, or are you going further afield?
USMCA?
USMCA sounds like that song, YMCA. But it's US, Canada, Mexico. US, Canada, and Mexico.
Yes, thank you. So yes, ideally, as we continue to expand, looking at various countries that we are exporting to, and finding and discovering through marketing research which are our highest exports, that kind of helps us determine which website we will build next. We've discussed Mexico, we've discussed, jumping the pond, as one would say, and creating websites for other countries such as Australia or Brazil, anywhere in South America, essentially, but we have not yet. So absolutely, the thought is there. With IBT, it's pretty easy to do once you get the ball rolling. But yeah, it certainly would consider that, because again, we're already exporting. It's not like we're trying to get into that market. However, that's only going to increase our exports and our sales.
Okay, and another one, I guess, for Ashley as well, which is, what are your biggest challenges then when you were exporting to Canada? Was it the tariffs? Was it regulation?
Quite a bit of regulation. So our chief manufacturing officer handles a majority of the regulations as far as, in the US, we're dealing with the USDA and licensing. So similarly, when we go into Canada, we face those roadblocks as well. Of course, everyone has their specific licenses and regulations. So that has been difficult pending the country that we're trying to get into or expand into, and then establishing relationships with distributors. We're not business to consumer, we are business to business. So we sell our vaccines to other distributors who then sell it through their sales reps, through their storefronts, etc. So creating those relationships and establishing those relationships as well. So earlier when I mentioned we had someone approach us about having a Canadian print website, it was a distributor who said, we love your product, we're selling it, we'd like to sell more. Here's how we think we might be able to. Can we make it happen? We said, absolutely. So it's a combination of both. Again, our CMO handles a majority of that, and then I come in on the backside and handle kind of the marketing side of things and help with sales.
Okay, great. There are a few more questions. We will respond to you individually by email, but our time is up. I wanted to say a big thank you to Nate Engel for also encouraging us to do this and helping so many Midwest companies in Michigan, ag exporters, and Nate is there to help those companies. So, and thank you very much for your participation today, Nate. Really appreciated it. Ashley, Cheshta, and Joe, our companies, thank you all for turning up today, for sharing some of your experiences with websites and e-commerce and other markets. Really been a useful resource for other food and agricultural companies looking to do the similar journey. It's very reassuring for them to see, yes, we can do this too. So thank you both. Great, two terrific Missouri companies. Enrique, thank you as always for your help and explaining about website localization and how important that is to be localized. With that, I want to say most of all, thank you to the audience. We know you're all webinared out, hard being online all the time. And looks like you're all going to meet up in a lot of active trade shows coming up. Go and see Missouri Northern Pecan Growers at the trade shows. Go and see Endovac. Go and see Nate and his crew. And hopefully we'll see you at some of those trade shows as well. Thank you all so much. Happy exporting. Take care. Be well. Thanks again for everyone. Bye-bye. Bye.